Madhavi Latha. I'm currently a professor at the Department of Civil Engineering of Indian Institute of Science, and I'm also heading the Center for Sustainable Technologies at IISc. Basically, I'm a teacher, a researcher, and a consultant. My research is mainly focused on earthquake geotechnical engineering, digital imaging, providing sustainable solutions of ground improvement, and rock engineering. Some of my key achievements, maybe for which I am brought into this group, are like I am the primary geotechnical consultant to the world's highest railway bridge that is being built across the river Chenab in Jammu. It is about to finish in another 4 months. I am involved in this project for past 17 years. And I am the editor-in-chief of Indian Geotechnical Journal, which is a 60-year-old journal published by Springer. I am also the associate editor of Geotextiles and Geomembranes, which is #1 journal across the world in my research area. And I am also a member of many international technical committees of geotechnical engineering. This is my brief bio on my career. And if I have to talk about my early life and education, I was born in a very small village. Many of you wouldn't have heard about it. It is called Edugundlapadu in Andhra Pradesh. And I am youngest in my family with 2 elder sisters and an elder brother. My father was a farmer. My mother was a homemaker. And my parents were not educated. It was a child marriage for my mother. She was 10 years old when she was married. At that time, my father was 30. My father led an adventure life. I should say his life was adventurous with a lot of ups and downs. By the time I was 10 years old, his glory ended, and literally we led a very poor life, struggling to meet our ends. And I studied till 12th class in a government school in Telugu medium in a small town called Kandukuru. And I joined for my BTech in civil engineering in JNTU College of Engineering, Kakinada, at the age of less than 16 years. I am the first engineer from my village. I studied my MTech later at IIT Warangal and completed my PhD at IIT Madras in 2000. And I worked at IIT Guwahati for 1 year before I joined as an assistant professor at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore in 2003. Yeah, I will talk about the professional journey, my professional journey. Certainly, there are some milestones. I joined IIT Guwahati in 2002. I was the first woman faculty member in geotechnical engineering in any of the IITs. There was no geotechnical engineering professor in any of the IITs by then. And since my husband was in Bangalore at that time, I had to come back to Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. And I joined as an assistant professor in 2003. Then I was the first woman faculty member of the 53-year-old civil engineering department of Indian Institute of Science. And in 2005, I became the primary geotechnical consultant to the world's highest railway bridge across river Chenab. This has been a steep learning for me. I am involved in this project for the past 17 years. And in 2009, I am promoted to associate professor. And in 2011, I became the associate editor of Indian Geotechnical Journal. By the time the journal was in scratch, it doesn't have online publishing, and we need to literally manually format the papers. So I struggled to bring the journal to a state where it is completely published by online by Springer, and it is one of the well-cited international journals currently. I became the editor-in-chief of this journal in 2016. And I was the first woman editor-in-chief of any engineering journal published by Springer across the world. And in 2015, I became a full professor at IISc. During 2018 and 2021, I was heading the Gate Jam Center of IISc. In 2021, I was the national organizing chair of Jam exam. And during COVID, I was responsible for the smooth conduct of this national exam and all related admissions. And 2021, I became the chair of Center for Sustainable Technologies at IISc. These are some professional milestones in my career. And if I have to talk about my personal journey and milestones is a long story. My childhood was very vibrant. I was actually multi-talented, I should say. I was a dancer. I literally won all debates and essay writing competitions. I stood first in all subjects, and I was a pet to all my teachers. I was a story writer. I still write a lot of poems and stories. I was the best kabaddi player and a sprinter. We were 6 in our family, and I was 3-year-old when my elder sister got married. She was 15 by that time. And we literally experienced poverty during my school days. When I think back, like what happened in my personal life, 2 very striking incidents come to my brain. The first one would be a picture of my mother sitting in front of a chulha. We used to use a chulha, which is burnt through rice husk. And there was this incident where I was I have seen my mother sitting in front of the chulha and crying. And when I asked her why she was crying, she told me that she doesn't have kerosene to light up the chulha. So I must be like some 12-year-old then. And I picked up some of my old used notebooks and I sold them to get 40 paise to buy kerosene for her. I'm just telling you this to just take you back into the memory lane of my childhood. Not that I have had all these kind of sad memories. It was a very, very happy childhood. But there were these incidents which are driven by financial limitations of the family. I was in 10th class and my father joined me for a tuition for 4 months, just at the end of my 10th class. And he couldn't afford paying the tuition fee for the last 2 months. He could pay only for 2 months. So when I got my first rank in school in 10th class, I couldn't meet my tuition teacher to tell him that I got the first rank in school because I was so embarrassed that the tuition fee was not paid. Apart from these financial problems, we had a wonderful childhood. We had many relatives. We were living in a community where like at least 10 families were living together. And there were a lot of friends and well-wishers around. But I remember something like when I used to walk barefoot to my school. And whenever I look up into the sky and see an aeroplane, I always used to think, one day I must get into this aeroplane and travel across the world. So that was one of my childhood dreams I can remember. I promised myself that I will do it. And when I remember all this today, I feel really proud for fighting all the odds to reach till here. And after that, when I joined my engineering, I was less than 16 years old, I already told you. And my entire schooling was in Telugu medium. And it was a culture shock for me when I joined this engineering college where all subjects are taught in English. And because of my village background, I was so rustic. I couldn't even understand what hi means. When someone says hi, or when someone smiles at me, I didn't have the culture to smile back or say hi to them. So my engineering college and hostel seemed like an alien world to me. And I couldn't sustain it for long. I ran away from college. I went back to my village within 2 months. I was all ready to join a local college for a BSc degree because I was not sure whether I am capable of completing engineering. So at that point of time, my grandmother stood with me and she told me one day that if you join a local college here, you are equal to any of these kids who are failing in each subject. And you are a topper from the beginning and all your intelligence will go waste. You are meant for very big things and you cannot be achieving all your dreams by studying in a local college here. So she inspired me a lot. She came to me, she came along with me to the hostel, stayed for a month with me and left only after I felt comfortable. So engineering life has taught me many things. I made most important friends of my life there. I have learned how to live independently. In fact, I was not even aware of how to buy a train ticket when I was like 16 years and joined the college. So I started to gain back my confidence. And then I started to participate in all debate competitions, which is my strength. I used to write a lot for my college magazines. And by the time I was in the end of first year, I was all myself. I gained my self-confidence and traveled smoothly from there. After finishing my BTech, I was not very sure what to do next. So I didn't want to continue my further studies. I want to support my family. But then I joined a job, and then I was feeling inadequate. I was feeling that my dreams are getting killed because I'm not doing what I'm loving. So at that point of time, I have decided to join and continue my studies. I joined for my MTech at NIT Warangal. And that is the place where I have got a lot of inspiration to do research. Many teachers inspired me. Most of them told me that you will become a very good researcher. So that's where I started thinking about research and joined for PhD at IIT Madras. So, then about personal life, continuing at IIT Madras as a PhD scholar, I met my husband Hari on IIT campus. I fell in love with him. We got married during our fourth year of PhD. Then we moved to a very small house outside IIT campus. And we started our life literally with 2 bicycles, 1 mat, and a lot of books. This is all we have got. And we were living on our scholarship, which was just 3,200 rupees per month. And we were living in a house where water must be taken from a well. We had no maid. We were doing all our chores ourselves and completed our PhD. To be very precise, our monthly vegetable expenses was less than 50 rupees. So we moved to Bangalore in 2000, soon after PhD, where my husband got a job in GE Bangalore. I also got a job offer from Gammon India, which is one of the top companies in my field. But I had to choose because I was already pregnant by the time, and Mumbai, I have to live in Mumbai away from my husband. So we chose that my husband will join the job in Bangalore and I will join him. So my daughter was born in September 2000. And after that, I tried for many jobs, literally for a assistant professor position in private colleges and design engineer in firms, in good civil engineering firms. But most of the places I was overqualified because they were not looking for someone who did a PhD from IIT. They were only looking for a fresh BTech graduate. So I've decided to join for a postdoctoral fellowship at IISc Bangalore. So my daughter was 7 months old, and I had to travel by 3 government buses to reach IISc from my home. And when I was doing my postdoctoral fellowship, I received a job offer from IIT Guwahati. That was a tough choice to make. Many of my friends said it is not a good decision to go to Guwahati at that time because this is 3,000 kilometers away from my husband. I had to travel with 1-year-old daughter. But my grandmother stood by me, and at the age of 80, she supported me. She said, there's no turning back when it comes to career. So I went to IIT Guwahati with my 1-year-old daughter, 80 years old Amama. That is how I call my grandmother. And I stayed there for a year. And then I have applied to IISc Bangalore and came back to Bangalore in 2003. Soon after, there is this crisis. My husband has to leave to Saudi Arabia for his work assignment, and he has to be there on and off for 4 years. It was the toughest period of my life. I had to manage my 2 young kids, my profession, which was early stages. And then I had lost my grandmother during that stage. And it was a difficult time to balance work life and family. So I remember one incident where I had to make a grant proposal presentation in Delhi, and there was no option for me. I had to leave my 2 young kids at 4 a.m. in my maid's house, go to Delhi, make the presentation, come back at 12 midnight, and pick them both from my maid's house and come home. So there were many such incidents which I sustained. In 2010, there's another decision-making time where my husband got a very attractive job offer in Middle East. And I was also offered a very good job in oil production wing of a big company. So the salary packages were so high that my husband has put a lot of pressure on me to quit job in IISc and join him. But that I perceived as it's the end of my professional life, because I do not want to do anything apart from research, which I love to do. And I do not want to leave the country and go to Middle East. So I had very tough time convincing my husband. And finally, I was successful. He came back to India, maybe around 2011. And from then on, there are not many glitches. Life has been smooth. My daughter Abhigna is doing her MBBS in Pondicherry now. And my son Shaurya is in 10th class. Coming to the influences in my personal life, of course, first comes my grandmother. I've already told a lot about her. And the next great influence was my second sister, Vijay Lakshmi. She was the first one to break the barriers of illiteracy, I should say. And she studied till MCOM, and she started working in a bank. She's a very strong person, very kind and responsible woman. And by the time my father stopped working, and she's the one who supported my family, my education in particular. And she has given a lot of support to me at every stage of my life. And I have learned these noble qualities like helpfulness, simplicity, and responsibility from her. I followed her path several times, most importantly in supporting my family and my parents. And of course, there is no other than the one than my husband who comes next. Because when I joined for my PhD at IIT Madras, my goal was only to complete PhD, get into a good job. My husband was the one who told me that research means it has to have visibility across the world. You need to publish your work. The more you publish, the more you become visible. So that was a kind of great motivation to me. At every stage of my life, his support is always there. So I must remember that. Coming to professional influences, there are like hundreds of teachers who stood by me and supported me at every stage. In fact, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a doctor. And I couldn't join MBBS because my family couldn't afford it. But most of my teachers from childhood, they kept on telling me that you'll become a great teacher and researcher. So I had to name a few. Professor Sri Rama Rao, he was my project supervisor in BTech at JNTU Kakinada. And my love for geotechnical engineering started from there. He's the one who has inspired me to take up this field. And when initially my English was very sketchy and I was not very good in communicating with people, he's the one who inspired me to develop love for the language. He gifted me an English dictionary, which is still with me. And he asked me to learn one word each day. So his help and support were valuable in reaching my dream to study in an IIT. And then at IIT Madras, Professor Rajagopal, he taught me fundamentals of research, and he instilled basic love for science. Till that time, I was only studying for exams. I was learning just for the sake of learning. But at IIT Madras, he showed me literally how to pay attention to details, how to establish results from something which is like completely unknown. So basic love for science started from there. And he also taught me how to be very ethical, right? I mean, do not just publish whatever it comes. And you need to be very honest when you are trying to project your work. This is what the lesson I have learned from him. And of course, Professor Sitaram at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, he was my mentor at postdoctoral fellowship. And I have learned how to be extremely productive, which is very important in my profession, and how to continuously progress. And his trust and belief are the main encouraging factors for me to aim for joining as a faculty member at IISc. There are many other names, but to mention Professor Ramurthy of IIT Delhi and Professor Shivkumar Babu of IISc are two main supporters in my professional life. Where do I get my energy from? I always have a lot of enthusiasm for things. Like I told you, from my childhood days, I have lived with people, literally people who do not know anything, very innocent people. That's my village background. So I see like how people struggle to come up in life, small things. So success is what drives me, I believe. The once you achieve one level, then you aim for the next level. Automatically the energy comes, I guess. And also love for life is something which drives me all the time. I see pleasure in small things. uh, when a small flower blooms also, I am kind of very excited and take a picture and share with my friends and things. So I see happiness in small little things, and that keeps me, I think, engaged and busy and energetic and happy, I guess. To me, success means leading an impactful life where people look at you while doing what you love. That's more important. And you should feel this self happiness, content. You should be content with yourself. I think that is what is success. Failure is something where you hate yourself, where like you try to see something which is not happy with yourself. That is when I feel I failed in something. There are many incidences, where there are many situations which have pushed me and challenged me to go forward in life. There are many occasions where my ideas were not respected. I am in a field where like everything starts with a small idea. And then there are occasions where peers around me, people around me, my own colleagues do not respect my ideas. There were instances where I was treated insignificant because of my gender. These look very simple, but they are not simple. There were expectations from family. They're very supportive, but still there are inherent expectations because of the cult background of the family, which are very difficult to balance at times. And there is also an inherent ownership to responsibility. Though I'm not expected to do something, but I will do it because that's how I'm grown. Right. For example, I'm going to a conference, which is about 7 days. It might take from my calendar. It's in some country like US. So I'm away for 7 days, and I try to make up for it. I try to cook for 7 days and preserve food for the whole family for these 7 days, which is not required maybe, but this inherent ownership to responsibility is something which is very challenging, which I think is not good. But then there are also instances where you are expected to work a lot. Like, for example, in the peak stages of my Chinna Bridge slope design, for 3 days, I literally didn't sleep. I was actually living in my office room. I was only sleeping for 2 hours a day. And then early morning, I have to get back and drop my kid to the play school. So these are some kind of things when I look back, I would have done better maybe without these challenges. But at the same time, maybe I pushed myself to do better because of these challenges. So this is a kind of a situation. And there are also many occasions where even for 1 day absence, you need to make a lot of arrangements. They look very small. Your kids' activities, their badminton, their basketball, and their school, and their whatever health. They seem to be very small, but at the same time, I do not want to be not available to them when they are needed. So maybe this is related to the cultural background of the society where I grew up, and other things. And then when I look back, I think failure is something which I have not literally experienced many times. To me, because I work on huge experimental facilities, I think I am one of the faculty members who has these large experimental facilities in IISc. So these are like in civil engineering, everything is huge. So there are too many challenges because sometimes the machines do not work, sometimes experiments fail. And every time a student fails in something, I take the ownership for the failure. So that's something I think very unique to the teachers. So they take students' failures as their own failures. So sometimes these actually challenge you, and I end up taking it as my responsibility to for the students also to do well, settle well, and all these things. So I put a lot of effort in overcoming these challenges and moving on. I do a lot at professional front to bring sustainability. For example, I work on sustainable materials. Like I told you, I head the group of sustainable technologies in IISc. So as a researcher, I do a lot to bring sustainable materials into construction, to reduce, recycle. All these things are like daily mantras for us. So at professional front, I do a lot to bring sustainability into life in terms of energy conservation, reduction in the use of natural materials, and inventing new sustainable materials for construction, and so on and so forth. But coming to the personal life, I think I'm not doing as much as I need to do. But we come from a farmer's background, me and my husband. Both of us are very fond of farming. We still do farming in Bangalore. So we grow more, a lot of things, and we eat mostly what we grow. So that's, I think, one thing I can say I am leading a sustain. We do a lot of planting of trees and this kind of stuff. Whenever possible, I try to conserve energy. And I think that's all I'm doing. I think there's a way forward, and I need to really do a lot in this front. So about the China Bridge project in Jammu, I think it became a part of my life because I've been working on this project for past 17 years. In 2005, it was just 2 years within the system of IISc by then. This project is owned by Northern Railways, because this is an iconic bridge, which is about 359 meters above the riverbed. And it is actually taller than Eiffel Tower by 35 meters. You'll be very surprised to know that it's like too huge. And the bridge connects two hills. The main objective of this bridge is to provide train route from Jammu to Srinagar. Now we do not have a train between Jammu and Srinagar. So there's a huge project which is called USBRL project. So which has a lot more stretches. Some of them are complete. Till now, the Udhampur-Katra line is complete. And after you move from Katra, which is where we have this Vaishno Devi shrine, this China Bridge comes in between Katra and Kajigan. So the challenge here is the train crosses two hills, and there's a river flowing between these two hills. And this is like a big challenge for civil engineering, because you need to connect the hills. At the same time, there's no support to build any piers between the hills. So that's where the concept of arch bridge has come. The arch actually abuts on both these hills, unsupported completely. And then from there, it will have the viaduct portion, and it connects to other lines. So this is, in its own, it's a very unique project. It's the tallest railway bridge in the world. So in 2005, Northern Railways has taken the help of Konkan Railways, who are bridge experts, to build this railway bridge. And then Afghans, which is one private company, is the one who got the contract to build the project. And then Afghans had to contact rock engineering experts to do all geotechnical investigations, design the foundations, most importantly, the slope stabilization, because the rock slopes are very unstable. Since it's Jammu, it's very vulnerable to earthquakes. So the bridge has to be built against earthquake related events. It should be able to sustain an earthquake magnitude of almost 8. So this is a big challenge, and there were very few rock engineering experts in the country by then. And one such vibrant group where they could find some promise is IISc Bangalore, where Professor Sitaram and I were the rock engineering experts. So they have asked us to help with the project in 2005. That is when I visited the bridge site. Literally, there was no human footsteps on that rock slopes till then. They were kind of places where no people would have walked on. So we had to literally go in a boat in the river Chenab and climb the hills. And there was nothing on those hills when I first visited the bridge. And it is almost like there were landslides everywhere. And when I'm traveling in a car, I was not sure whether I'll actually reach the spot, because any time there could be instability, landslide, which can push you into the valley. So it's a very, very big challenge. And the conditions were not conducive for a woman to go there, because in the entire project, I didn't see one single woman in the whole project. So it's a big challenge, but I was very much interested, because that is something which I wanted to do, because it's a national project, dream project for past 100 years. India has been dreaming to connect Jammu and Srinagar by train. So that gave me a big hope and big challenge. And I have decided to be with the project. And from 2005, we started with geotechnical investigations, where boreholes are driven. We started taking, we started measuring the properties of rock slopes and all those things. Then it went on and on. I played an important role in the design of slope profiles, foundations, slope stabilization, and construction monitoring, which is like took almost 17 years. The bridge is in a shape now. The arch portion is complete. So any day, like after 3 months, it will be open for it's complete. The execution will start. So that is the reason. Recently, I thought I should show this marvel to my family. Just 2 weeks back, I took my family to the bridge site, Chinna bridge site, and showed them everything that I did. So till now they were seeing it in videos and photographs. I have traveled to the place many times and got a lot of stuff with me to show them. But still, when they saw it in real, it was a big shock to them, because the size is huge. Whatever you imagine so far is much, much less than what you see in reality. So it's a big achievement in a professional front. And also, I feel really, really useful to be a part of this project. Created a big impact, not only in our country, worldwide. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity, and very happy and content about it. Yeah, that stretch, the bridge part is complete now. In another 3-4 months, mostly before September, the launch will happen. But there are some other stretches beyond this which have to be completed for the entire train to run. That might take another year. But this Chinna Bridge project, where I am involved, will be completed in another 3 to 4 months. Sure. So about the lessons that I have learned in my life through my personal journey and professional journey, one lesson I have learned is never give up. Never give up. There are some situations where you feel that everything is falling apart, and there is this is an impossible task and this is not going to happen. I have been into such situations, but never give up. Focus and persistence through this. They look very, very common words, but these are very important words. And they help you in achieving something which initially seems very impossible. And then another lesson I have learned is it's more important to be kind and considerate than being reasonable and correct. Because in my profession, I come across many young kids who have no idea of what they are doing, why they are here, and what they will be doing after 10 years. But if I, with all my experience over the years, if I try to be very reasonable and logical and correct with them, many times it will be a very tough thing for them. So I have learned to be very kind and considerate towards particularly the younger generation, which is very important. And another important lesson I have learned is we don't have to win all games, because we are into too many things. We don't have to win everything. What's more important is win the most important ones. That's enough. That will keep you going. And for the young girls who were like me, I mean, I told you I was less than 16 years old when I joined for engineering. I didn't know, I was a naive. I have no idea what life is, what it might be after a certain time. So one thing I want to advise the young girls is never hesitate to express yourself. Never be limited by your inhibitions. I have lost many opportunities in life because I was silent when I was being dominated by others who were around me. Self-confidence is very important. And when you have that and when you express without any inhibitions, definitely the world is going to listen to you. There will be a time where like your ideas will be respected because they will automatically come out because they have merit. I think this is very important. You need to understand that and be very confident and expressive. I want to tell myself when I go back in my memory lane and see the younger Madhavi, I want to tell the younger Madhavi that don't lose your heart over small things. There are big things in store, and this is very transient thing what you're going through. And there are bigger happiness, the bigger things that will give you happiness. And you're meant for really big things. Do not worry about small petty things and lose your heart over them. I think this is what I'm going to tell her. If I have to go back and remove something from my life, that would be, I think, my uncertainties, my inhibitions, and I'm feeling insecure about like people who are already in a kind of a culture who are doing very well, and feel insecure about myself and feeling very limited. That kind of a feeling I want to erase from my life. I can literally see the days when I was feeling homesickness, when I just moved away from home and then I was not able to mix with people. They were all very sweet, good people. But because of my background and limitations, I was not able to get connected with them. I think I would want to erase that chapter of my life. And my innocence, of course, it's sweet to think of, but there are many instances where I was not doing what I was supposed to do. And I was literally not knowing how to do. I think that part of me I wanted to erase. Yeah, I feel definitely, I mean, these are the things which limited me to a certain extent, because I lost almost 2 years of my life, one working after my BTech and 1 year because I was insecure about my stay at engineering college. I think I feel these are like two things which I'm not very happy about, that phase. Yes. What is keeping me driven, what is keeping me look forward to another day is the day itself. Because there are so many things. For example, when I walk to my department from my home, I see a lot of trees. I mean, these look very simple. But I see the trees, they are like living there for past 100 to 150 years. Some of them, we have a very beautiful campus. And I look at them and I feel how many generations these trees have seen and how they are blooming every year, how they are not tired of doing these things, how they are not stopping even for a second. Right, they do their things in a very systematic way. I see the seasons changing. We have these flowers, different seasons, different flowers on the campus. So very systematic. In this month, this has to bloom, that will bloom. So there is no one who is telling them to do these things. So that keeps me very motivated. Even like if I am very sad for some reason, I just take a walk and sit under a tree. I forget everything because I feel like I'm a part of this whole big universe where like I'm actually doing my things, and it is very important that I do these things systematically and in a happy way to make people happy about it. I think this is one thing. I look forward to the morning, I look forward to the sunset, sunrise, flower blooming, all season changing. Everything keeps me very excited about. I think I derive this pleasure and happiness and passion from the nature. So throughout my life, if I just scroll through the pages of different stages of my life, there are a few incidents definitely which will stuck into your mind. And one such incident I always remember is I was walking to my school. I always remember this. Actually, I used to take shorter routes because I had to do a lot of things at home because it's a kind of a family where kids do their own things. So I have too many things to do before I go to school. Or I was actually taking some Hindi classes after the school because of my love for literature. So I had to reach the place by 8 o'clock. By the time I had to sweep the floor and then do this cow dung water I had to spill, put rangolis, all this, and then wash and then go to this Hindi class by 8 o'clock. And I do not have time to go through the main roads. I had to walk through very, I should say, kind of, these are not so nice type of roads. I had to walk, and I was actually not able to afford my slippers also so many times because I was losing them. That is one of my things. Because of that, my grandmother wanted to punish me and no slippers for your rest of school. So I had to go through these roads, see all kinds of people. And then I was always thinking, this memory is fresh in my mind. I was always thinking that I should really grow big in life and then be someone who is totally different from these people. And I should be able to afford a lot of things, and I should be able to lead a life which is where I do not have to really think about small things in life, like my slippers, my school books, small things which my friends could afford, I cannot afford. And one biggest dream which always chased me is the aeroplane dream. I must tell you now, I cut down my travel because I do not have so much time, but literally I used to travel almost every month to some place. So became a big traveler. But in my childhood, I only know like my village and my grandmother's village. Apart from this, I do not know anything. So at that point of time, I was thinking I should really grow big, and traveling around the world was one of my dreams that kept me pushing. So small childhood incidents are like the small situations which I went through. They're still fresh in my mind. And when I look back, I feel really proud that I could really struggle and fight all those odds and come to a level where I could really do things which I was dreaming to do. I think, yeah, there are too many to list. A vision for my future life. One thing I wanted to do is do something in my profession which is not done before. For example, it could be a very small thing, but in my professional front, all the next generation researchers should always quote me for that. I think that is one thing I wanted to do. That should be like kind of, this is Madhavi's thing, right? That should stay in the books of geotechnical engineering, where like people will refer to my name. In fact, in a way, I have achieved a little bit of it because my PhD thesis is very unique, and that is cited by most of the people across the world. If you put those keywords, my name will come first. But that's not enough. I think I need to do a little more, and people should remember me for my work. Something very unique in geotechnical engineering. I think this is my dream. I wanted to do it. One is like, I have a lot of students, and I put all my energy and my dreams into them. And I see very happy when they grow up in life and settle in a nice way. Many of them are in different IITs now as faculty members, and they carry forward my dreams. In fact, and it's like kind of multiplying your dreams, and I feel very good. All of them share what they did, a simple experiment, a simple new thing they did in life, any big achievement. They are in contact with me, and that makes me feel proud that these things are not dying with me, and I'm actually multiplying my dreams and encouraging these young minds to take very important research areas in life, I think. And then to my school also, that's a 100-year-old government school where I studied. And then I have given a lot of speeches to the kids, and on Science Day, they do not forget me, because for them, I am the biggest. So they contact me to give some encouraging words to the kids. So I'm in touch with all my old schools and colleges, and continue this. And I give a lot of these webinars or lectures in different classes. It's a part of my profession. But in most of the places when I go and talk about like little bit of my personal life and tell them the story. And many young girls come to me and ask, like, what should I do to become like you? So this is a very constant question I get from a lot of young people, because civil engineering is something which was not very common when I studied civil engineering. There were hardly 4 or 5 girls in a class of 60, I should say. So now it is like almost, it is grown into a big field. But many young girls come and ask me, what should I do to become like you? So then I feel like I'm really putting some amount of inspiration into their minds. I think that's what I'm trying to do, inspiring young kids and my own students and people around. And even this Chenab Bridge project has become a very big impact, and a lot of newspaper articles came where my parents' names were mentioned. This is the regular news media buzz thing, but that's a big thing for my whole village, because they all come and they feel very, even though they don't know the details of it, they feel very proud that our kid has done this. So I think that inspires many kids in and around to take up these kind of challenges. And they coming from similar background, they will also derive a lot of inspiration that you don't need really money, or you don't need really a big support from family, your parents, anything. If you're really serious and passionate, you can do big things. I think this is the message I'm giving through my life, I feel. She was alive when I was into Chenab Bridge. It was in 2005 I went to Chenab Bridge. So she was very happy. She was asking me, why don't you take me there? Actually, she is a kind of a travel-loving person like me. So, but she was already more than 80 years old and I can't take her there. But she was very much alive, and it was after 6 years I lost her, but she knows the project and she was very happy about it. Sure. So this is when my first time my parents have come to IISc after I joined IISc. So after a few years, I brought them. And my father and mother, they were walking on the campus, and under one tree, my father sat, and he was telling, so these are the places which I have never imagined in my life. And I'm so glad that you are here. Even if they don't give you 1 paisa salary, you should be working in this place. This is what he told. I feel so proud that you are here. Without salary also, you should be working, because being here itself is a big blessing. This is what he told me. And when my Chenab Bridge project came in news, my parents didn't read it first, but someone in the village brought the newspaper to them and read the whole story, and my mother started crying. So they were really, really excited about this whole thing. They never imagined that this kind of things can happen to their own kid, I think. Yeah. For the fun things, I am in my bucket list. I am a traveler. I travel a lot, seen many countries. And one thing I want to go to many places. There are like so many in the list. One would be Norway. I always wanted to go on the cliff, Norway cliff. I see it in the pictures and videos, and I feel like I should go and stand there on the Norway cliff. That's one in my bucket list. And Machu Picchu. And there are many places which I have not visited. I think those are the places I want to go with my family, definitely. And then, I think there are too many in the bucket list. The travel list is too big. About my kids being proud about me or saying something nice to me, I remember exactly spontaneously 2 things. One thing is a recent visit to Chenab when they saw the bridge, and I showed them literally, these are the supports I have designed, this is the foundations I have designed and all that. They said, oh my God, how can you do these things? How do you do these calculations? How do you, how it comes to your mind? This was the inquisitive questions they asked, and they said, like, we really see it's a big thing. That is one thing I can always be proud of. Second thing is like which happened last year, I guess. See, maybe around 2018, I was actually very heavy. I was weighing almost 78 kgs. So I think in 1 year I have decided, that was my daughter's 12th class. So I took 4 months off and I was staying with her to help her with physics and other stuff. So I thought instead of just sitting at home, I should think of achieving something. So I decided to work out on my body, and then I started walking, playing badminton. In 1 year, I reduced 15 kgs. So that was actually very visible. Everyone who knows me were like really shocked. Some of them couldn't recognize me and stuff. So my daughter actually took inspiration from that. And last year, she actually started she started working, cycling, and doing things. And then in 1 year, she did more than me, whatever I did. And then she wrote to me a WhatsApp message. She sends to me, I wouldn't have done all this without inspiration from you. Thanks for being there. So that line actually, it was a thrill to see that at least I am playing some role model stuff to kids in these simple, small things. Yeah.